All right, checking on my end. Can you hear my voice? Am I loud enough there?
Yeah, you sound good.
Wonderful.
All right, let's rock.
I gotta make sure I hit record.
No, that's important.
All right.
No, he did not. Just act like we were about to do exercises.
Oh, we do opera vocal warm-ups. That's what we do now.
We're gonna have those. Okay.
La 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 la.
Okay, we ready.
We ready.
Okay.
Welcome to episode number 48 of Black, White, Blue in the South, a podcast discussing Democratic politics with a Southern flair. I'm Bill Kimler.
I'm Jumelle Brooks.
And we're coming to you live from McCormick County, South Carolina,
Woo-hoo!
A little red county.
Yay!
In a very red state. If you like what you hear, well, too bad, because this is our final episode.
Yeah.
So you can call in and check in and email us all you want. We may not answer.
We're out.
So yes, we also have as a guest with us the executive director of the South Carolina Democratic Party, Mr. Jay Parmley. Say hello.
Hello. Thank you,
sound
Bill.
shocked by this announcement that you were.
It's your last one, and I hope this makes the final cut.
Yeah, well, as you see, we were scraping the bottom of the barrel for guests.
I guess so.
So it's time.
You just dragged me out of the audience for this.
You stay ready, so it didn't matter. It didn't matter.
It's time to hang things up.
Yeah, it is.
So I do want to reminisce a little bit. We started this little podcast July of 2023.
Yep.
And we had no idea what the heck we were doing. We figured, well, everybody and their uncle seems to have a podcast. Why not us?
Yep.
We had lunch together, Jumelle and myself. I threw this idea at her, and she was crazy enough to say, okay, let's do it. And we didn't know what we were doing, but we got a couple pieces of equipment, which has grown over the years, and we grew a following. People actually listening to us.
They do.
Didn't even think on that first episode that anybody was going to listen to us. And it was funny because we showed up without any preparation, no topics. We figured it would be a test episode.
Wait, and we were in the library,
We
right?
went to the library.
Yeah,
right.
and we were looking at each other, and it was so basic. We said, we don't even have any closing music, right? And I made up a song, and if you listen to the podcast, the end. Oh, crap, he has it. That's it.
We got it all. And since then, we've actually gotten a lot more sophisticated. These podcasts take about 10 hours of preparation. We study, we look for videos, we get guests, we do pre-interviews. We became official because, all the money we were making.
Which is zero. Let me just go ahead and say
we
that.
needed to be professional. But
Not
today,
one dime.
we weren't even sure if we were going to be here today. I mean, the
if we would
storm,
have power. Yeah.
the storm just threw a wrench in everything. So we are going to go out the way we came in, which is unprepared, winging it off the top of our heads, and we're going to see how this goes.
Here we go.
All right, so I'm going to start by saying hello to Jay.
Hey, Jay.
Jay, I've known you for years.
Hey, Bill. Hey, Jumelle.
Hey.
Ever since I started getting involved with South Carolina Democratic politics, you've been there. And you just gave a rousing speech. It was about 3 hours long.
Oh, yeah. It was. I could have gone another couple.
It sounded like you were just getting warmed up. But you said something that stuck with me. You said this was the most consequential election of our lifetimes.
Ooh-wee.
Now, I want to roll back 4 years when I heard you speak. You know what you said then? This is the most consequential election of our lifetimes. Let's go 4 years before then when I saw you speak. You know what you said? This is the most consequential election of our lifetime. So I ask you, Jay, as somebody who's lifelong in politics, have you ever said, this election, not so consequential. It's Bush and Dukakis. Who cares? Have you ever said that?
No, I couldn't vote when Bush and Dukakis ran against each other. But I was a senior in high school, but I wasn't 18 yet. But this is actually what I said, Bill. And I think I was with Congressman Clyburn a couple nights ago in Sumter County, and he said he's tired of everyone saying that this is the most important election of their lifetime because it's the most consequential. They're all important. Mm-hmm. And I think probably we always talk about how there's never been a more important election. But this one is truly the most consequential because we know the choice. The choice couldn't be clearer at the presidential level between Trump and Harris. And this is Trump's third time on the ballot, and we've had for president, and we've experienced 4 years of his leadership. And so We know what he brings to the table.
You know what gets me, Jay?
What?
Is that there is so much either selective memory
Oh.
or complete rewriting of history when people say the Trump years were the golden years. Look, I've got pictures. Shelves were empty during Trump years.
Well.
There were riots in the cities during Trump years. There were riots in D.C. during Trump years. I don't remember it as being this golden age that they all say that we need to go back to.
No, I mean, you just have to look at a couple things. I mean, we had literally, people died because of his lack of leadership. I mean, really, on COVID, number one. This rewriting of the economy is quite interesting. I mean, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have spent the last 4 years rebuilding this economy, putting people back to work, creating jobs, reinvesting in our country. You know, you look at every single thing Joe Biden's done, whether it's the Inflation Reduction Act or the Infrastructure Act or the CHIPS Act, Chips and Science Act, or all these things about investing in American opportunity, whether it's jobs, high-tech jobs, or good old infrastructure jobs like let's rebuild a bridge. I mean, these things make a big difference in our country, and it's like we've fallen asleep. I think people somehow forgot what 4 years of Donald Trump was like because we've had 4 progressively really good years. Even though people may still hurt from time to time, this president has been the most consequential president, certainly of my lifetime, and many people believe since Franklin Roosevelt, just because of the work he's put into rebuilding this American economy.
I think it's good to point out that it's one of the most consequential elections. And you need to make this relate to the people at a closer level. So the things that you take for granted, that you have access to every day, all of that is on the ballot. They have told you it is on the ballot. They have told you what the plan is. And at this point, if we don't act, then we are doing ourselves a disservice. So at the end of the day, we won't be able to blame a certain party or a certain president. We will have to take ownership for failing to act and take control of our future. So when they say consequential, it's as simple as that. There's a consequence for our failure to act, and we cannot overlook that point.
And the acting is voting, right?
Clear.
The acting piece is we have to turn out. We have to encourage people to vote.
Yeah.
There's so many different things to vote for and so many reasons to vote. But I think we forget. I mean, all three of us do this all day. I mean, you're both running for office. You're both active in the party. And we forget that, you know, my brother, who is a welder, owns a small business. He's not engaged every day in politics, and so I have to make sure he votes. I mean, I literally have to text him and make sure he votes the correct way as well.
What do you think of what other countries do? Now, hear me out.
Yeah.
I'm actually somewhat in favor of mandatory voting. What do y'all think about that? Do you think it ought to be the law that you are mandated to vote and participate in elections? There are countries that do that, and the way they enforce it is they fine you $20, let's say, if you don't vote, right?
Wait a minute.
And so I'm thinking, is that such a terrible thing to enforce civic duty?
I don't know. I really haven't thought much about it, except here's one of the things. Now, this is the counter to that. I'll give you a counter. In this great democratic experiment that is America, one of the beautiful parts about our democracy is you get a choice and you get to participate or not.
Yeah.
And we want people to participate. And forcing people to participate, I think, makes it less
Well,
democratic.
there's things in this democracy like jury duty.
Oh, yeah, that you don't
that
have
you're
a choice
called,
about.
right?
That's a good point.
So that's what I'm thinking. You know, voting is participation in democracy, and maybe you ought to be encouraged to do so. I don't know.
I would at least, I'm not going to say no to that. I think we should do everything we can to make it easier for people to vote, right?
So we'll say that's a yes from Jay.
That is not a yes.
I also want to talk about the fact that as we record this, we are exactly 1 week out of the worst hurricane that's hit western South Carolina in history, practically. I know I've been without power, but fortunately no house damage, and many other friends of mine have not been so lucky. And there's going to be areas of our neighborhood in Greenwood, South Carolina that are going to be in recovery mode for years.
Yeah.
This is my second natural disaster I've lived through that was of this magnitude. 15 years ago, I lived in upstate New York, and in a little city called Binghamton, we had one of those 1 in 1,000 year floods that wiped out 1,000 homes in the region, like just demolished, gone. I worked for a food distributor at the time, and one of our warehouses, which serviced 500 Burger Kings in the Northeast, the warehouse was gone the next day. Like tractor trailers are floating down the Susquehanna River. It was one of those apocalyptic scenes that I thought I would never see again.
Wow.
And I'm seeing it again. It was just as bad here, maybe not with floods, but
Yeah,
with
but
trees on
trees.
houses.
Yeah.
It was absolutely nightmarish. Jay, did you incur any damage or loss of
Didn't have any damage. I live in Richland County, and I lost power for 4.5 days, but houses on both sides of us, trees, and they're, right down their
Right.
roof. The thing that makes this storm, I think, even greater is the effect it had on our state's most rural counties. This isn't a Charleston, this isn't a Columbia thing, not even a Myrtle Beach thing, right? This time it's our smallest, two larger communities and in mainly rural counties. And we're seeing the difference in the response, I think, between when it hits Charleston versus when it hits McCormick County.
What I think it did is it exposed one of our weaker areas.
Yeah.
It's one of the areas that we definitely got to work to build up. But again, you can't ever prepare for this. But when a situation like this comes up, it should give indicators or markers of where we need to hit the ground running first in terms of being prepared for the next event.
Now, Jumelle, you and I were scheduled to record a podcast with another popular podcast in South Carolina, and shout out to Frogmore Stew, one of the better podcasts
yes,
out there.
yes.
So I hop on, and we planned this for weeks. We've been wanting to get on this show forever. I hop on, and there's no Jumelle.
He would bring this
There's
up
no
today. He
Jumelle.
would.
Jumelle ghosted us. Now, why did you ghost us that
But-
day? Here's
but
your
listen,
here's your chance to come
But
clean.
hear me out. So
Were you asleep again like you were when Biden announced he was
was
stepping
not.
out? You were sleeping then. Were you
So there are a
sleeping on
couple of
Monday
things
too?
they're never going to let me live down. One is that I slept through Biden stepping down.
She did.
But when I woke up, my phone had rung enough. I found out exactly what had happened. My bad. He should have checked in with me before he decided to step down. But for the Frogmore Stew, I went into community help mode.
Oh, good.
So the moment I saw the publication go up in Greenwood that said, we need help, I put on my made-up FEMA hat, and I have been slinging cases of water and MREs across 4 or 5 different cities in the last week or so. So, yes, Bill calls me, and he says, hey, I'm on the podcast, and I went, oh, crap. Where was I? I was in front of City Hall in Greenwood passing out MREs.
Good
and
for you.
I mean,
Good
I can
for
only
you.
say my bad. I missed it. So I had 2 good reasons.
Now, to be honest, I would have been out there slinging water along with you.
But you
exactly.
can't. You can't.
Well, so let's talk about that. As
only
I
have
sit
one
here,
good arm, I
as I
see.
sit here, I have a cast on my left arm.
Yes.
That won't be coming off for a couple more weeks, and everybody in this room has been asking, "What happened? What happened?" So it's time for me to share what happened.
Are you going to tell him for real?
Yeah.
The real
so,
part?
So for real, I was out canvassing with our campaign person, Tori, and going through her development. Knocked on a door. They opened the door, and it was a guy in a red hat.
Oh, my gosh.
Comes to the door, and, one thing led to another. Words were exchanged. No, I'm kidding. There was no such thing happened.
Yes, it
I
was
tripped,
not.
I tripped and fell.
And
That's
all
all
of
it
you
was.
all were like leaning in to hear exactly what happened.
I tripped and fell, broke a finger and a wrist, and it was, just dumb gravity, clumsy stuff, and just couldn't have come at a worse time. It was like, let's time this broken arm to come with a hurricane where everybody is out there hauling lumber and stuff, and I'm with my one hand barely. I can't even tie my shoes.
Yeah.
That's how hopeless I am. Can't tie my shoes.
It's okay.
Not that I ever tied my shoes anyway.
I was going to say no.
Yeah.
Just step
They
in.
make slip-ons.
So, Bill, you want to integrate some of the audience?
Yeah.
I'm curious. And
So
you can-
actually, let's thank Jay. Jay, we're going
Jay,
to ask
thank
you to
you.
step
Thank
down. We
you,
appreciate
Jay.
you stopping in.
Jay is
I
always
appreciate it.
available. Thank you, Jay.
Anytime.
We'll try to
glad.
behave.
Good luck. Both
Thank
of
you.
you are
Thank
on the
you.
ballot. 30
Thank you.
days.
30
days.
Woo.
30 days. Yay. I'm still trying to figure out how in the world, in Greenwood, how we are able to prop power poles up on power lines. But they're leaning, but the only thing that's holding them up right now in some parts are just the power lines themselves.
Now, Jumelle,
So-
would you like to introduce our next guest here?
Oh, we got Tim Kelly, candidate for sheriff of McCormick.
Hi, Tim.
Hello. Tim
Round of
Kelly.
applause.
Yay, Tim.
Now, Tim, I have to give you a heads up. Normally, when we go into a podcast with a guest, we do full background checks. We check your criminal records. We check your tax returns. We do the full skinny. We didn't do that this time. So now you get to construct your own story. as to who you are and what you're about.
And we got to believe it.
Okay.
That's right.
Let's go.
Well, here's the story, and you got to believe it.
There you go.
Story is that I'm a McCormick resident. I was raised right here in McCormick, South Carolina. 1987 graduate of McCormick High School. Any
Wow.
Chiefs out there?
Cool
Chiefs?
beans. Cool beans.
Only a few.
Yeah. There they go. They at the back.
All right. I left here. I attended the University of South Carolina, Aiken. And after that, I grew up during the Reagan-Bush years, so the military got me too. So that was the only thing going.
So that's why you're running as a Republican, because you grew up in the Reagan-Bush era?
Negative. I'm running as a Democrat.
Hey, even better.
No, Reagan-Bush years were kind of lean for the Kelly family. But I served 15 years in the Army Guard. I'm currently working on year 25 in law enforcement. I currently work in the town of Johnston, which is in Edgefield County, which it saw a lot of damage. And I worked through those first initial 3 to 4 days of the storm, and they've been hit pretty hard. We got hit pretty hard there in Edgefield County. And I just want to say to anybody out there who's experienced anything like that, any damage, or if you incurred any loss or anything like that, my heart goes out to you, and hopefully that right now you're getting the help that you need. If not, reach out. I mean, it's out there, whether it's federal level. It's more likely right now it's on the local level. So there are things set up on the local level, because I know we were passing out water and MREs in our area. And I know they're doing that here too in McCormick County also.
Yeah.
So talk about your decision to run for sheriff. Is that something that's always been a goal of yours, or was there a triggering moment that says, man, I got to step up?
Well, this is not my first go around sheriff from McCormick County. I attempted it back in 2020, and it's always been I'm a community guy. It's always been a goal of mine to work in my own community. Part of my law enforcement career had me working in Richland County, not Richmond, but Richland. I worked in a lot of communities. Currently, I don't work in a community. I work in a community where I do not live. That community benefits from my knowledge and experience every day. But I would love to come here to McCormick County and hopefully, to have the community benefit from the knowledge and experience I had, that I've acquired over 25 years in law enforcement and 15 years in the military. Because there's nothing like serving the people where you're from. Even though, the community where I've worked, they become my quasi community, or people that I know, and I know a lot of people in every community where I've worked. But my thing is that I know plenty of people, more people here in this county than I do in any county or city or town that I've worked in. But it's been it's not a fly-by-night operation of wanting to be sheriff. I've studied this thing. I've looked at numbers. This has been 8 years running, just looking at numbers.
I have to say, I think that's admirable. 2020. Here you are, 2024. That's a goal.
Could be a glutton for punishment.
No, not necessarily. And I don't know if you all know this, but I was talking to Tim one day, and I said, I don't know if you've ever met this guy, but there's a really good sheriff in Richland County that you should meet. And I said, have you heard of him, Sheriff Leon Lott? And he goes, I trained under him. And I went, dude, if I was in McCormick County, you get my vote. To be able to work under that. What are some of the high points that you think from that time under him?
Now Sheriff Leon Lott,
Yeah.
Sheriff of the Year, or Sheriff, National Sheriff of the
The
Year?
Sheriff Leon
The
Lott.
only one from South
Yes.
Carolina to hit that honor, and
Yes.
you trained under him.
Trained under him.
Currently, it could be me.
Okay.
I could be.
Okay, that would be the
Could
second.
be the second sheriff from South Carolina to be sheriff of the year. But under Sheriff Lott, what I loved working about him, and he believed in training for everybody, for all the deputies that he had there. Training was utmost imperative, and he was a community deputy. A community sheriff. If you guys, when I was there were better than 600 deputies that he had working under him, and he pretty much knew everybody. And, that is what I'm talking about. And he was in every hamlet, community, wherever it was, he made time to be in those areas. And that's how I want to be, because he made time for the people. Back during that time, before the internet was a thing, this sheriff's phone number was in the phone book. If anybody remember what phone books were, but this sheriff's number was in the phone book. And he took calls. And I like that personal touch. Now, if anybody knows about Richland County, it's a really big county. If you called, he answered. And the same thing now with his, if you email him, he's going to email. If you email him, he'll answer the email. So that's what I want to bring here in terms of Transparency first and foremost, training. And I know that, some would say, well, they receive training when you go through the Criminal Justice Academy. That is 12 weeks, if that, in terms of training to be a law enforcement officer.
Yeah,
Now,
don't barbers get more weeks of training?
yes,
I promise.
barbers get more hours of
Yes.
training. We only get 140 hours per year in terms of training. Barbers
And it
get,
sounds like you want more training. It just sounds like you're making the case that there ought to be more training.
I mean, in order to be a law enforcement officer, I was a field training officer, and I'm still currently a field training officer as a sergeant. You're going to need more than that 12 weeks to do this job, because 12 weeks is only, and they will tell you, and I see some law enforcement officers, former law enforcement officers in the crowd, it's only basic training. Just like when I went into the Army, that's basic training you get for 8 weeks. Your next, I was in, we call it O-suit when I went through, I was in boot camp for the Military Police Corps. And you did your first 8 weeks. That's basic training. That's 8 weeks. My next few weeks, several weeks, so I did 17 weeks of it, was AIT. That was learning my job. And that's the thing. After you get out of the academy, I was a training officer at Richland. I had people for 11 weeks. That's 11 weeks along with their 12 weeks. So that is a long time, but it is required because in that period of time, that 11 weeks, you're learning policy and procedure of that department. You're better learning the procedural things in terms of traffic stops, how to deal with the public. There are a lot of things that you learn that you won't get from the academy, but first and foremost is policy and procedure, because anybody ever been to the academy, you understand that's basic. And they will tell you at the academy, what's going to keep you is your policy and procedure at your department where you go to. Learning the law and basic stuff is great, but policy and procedure will trump that every time.
Well, how do you deal with the fact that every driver out there knows the law better than you do? You encountered that, right? I mean, every time you pull somebody over, they're reading the law to you like they're constitutional scholars.
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, if they do, I like that. But then I will ask them, okay, what 56 code is that? So when you ask them, the 56 code, for anybody, if you really want to know, that is the section code, the title code for all your traffic offenses in the state of South Carolina. So now you at least know where to quote a traffic infraction from. That's the 56 code.
That's
56
free.
title. That's free. Now, what's really free, I'm giving this free. These phones right here, everybody's got one. If you type in South Carolina Legislature, and then the icon comes down and see South Carolina Legislature, it says Codes of Laws, hit Codes of Laws. That'll drop down, little drop down box. You'll see all the titles from 1 through 56 or whatever it is. You can learn every law in the state of South Carolina. Everything. I would much rather have a better informed public anyway, because a better informed public about the laws, my policy and procedure, anything like that, it actually makes for a better officer, because now you understand what I go through or what these people are supposed to know that's out here protecting you.
Quick question. If there is one thing that you would want your constituents to know that you haven't already said, but you think is vital for them to know, what would that be?
One thing, there's not just one thing, but I guess the most important thing is that I would want them to know is that about being, just being open and transparent and having the ability to hopefully answer questions if you need, or being there when you need me. Or not just me, but, just anybody that's under my employ, deputies, captains, whoever it is that you need, just being there, being present. I guess that would be the word, just being present.
All right, Tim, well, thank you. Yeah, I wish you were my sheriff, man.
I know.
Yeah, and
I'm proud to have you.
Y'all making me sweat. I feel like I've been sweeping that floor again.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
Hey, you have a website, I assume, right?
Yes, it's Tim Kelly for Sheriff 2024. You can log on to that. It will tell you just about everything about me, I guess, and it will have something. It will talk about my mission statement. It will. There's a lot of things on there that, and some programs. I forgot to mention that, but there are a lot of programs, or some programs that I would really like to bring here. That would be beneficial, I think, to the citizens of McCormick County in order to improve the quality of life here in this county.
Well, I know your opponent tried to become sheriff of Greenwood County and then got chased out of town. Now he's your opponent here.
So now
in
he's
McCormick.
Yeah, I didn't want to bring that up, but yeah.
Well, that's what we're here for. We're the rabble rousers.
We're here for that.
That is the case.
All right, maybe we should let you go before you get in trouble.
Okay.
No, just thank you guys. Appreciate it, everybody, for your support, for now and future support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
clean these out. Got sweaty.
Okay, Bill. I figure you got a guess you want to call.
I don't have one personally, no.
Okay, so I figure we'll get Best up here one more time.
Okay.
U.S.
Yeah. So who are we having up here? We're having Mr. Bryon
The
Best.
one and only Bryon Best.
Now this is going to be our next U.S. Congressman
Come on.
from SC3. Now, just so people know, South Carolina Congressional District 3 has been represented by one of the lowest forms of representatives in the world. His name is Jeff Duncan. We've talked about him on our show. This is a guy that would hold his faith and family and freedom fundraisers every year and then go bang a mistress when he gets home. He is having to leave the office because of personal scandals. He pretends like it didn't happen. He's already put out a wedding registry online for his mistress and himself who are getting married.
Wow.
Yeah, it is. The guy is just the lowest form of life, and he's out there dictating family values and taking moral high grounds. He has been so shamed by it that he is not running for re-election, and so that leaves the door open. And here is Mr. Bryon Best, who's going to take that seat and bring integrity back into SC3.
Yeah, that's what's up.
And that's a wrap. We thank everybody.
No, not until he answers this one question.
Okay.
So I asked him, I said, be prepared, because my question to you is, if there is one thing that you want your constituents to know right now, as we are, 30 days out?
30 days out, yeah.
What is that one thing that you would want to tell everyone?
I want them all to know that politics matter. Your vote matters for what goes on in your communities, what goes on in the classrooms, what goes on in your jobs. Politics matters. So when you got there to vote, vote for someone that has your best interest at heart, not self-serving themselves or self-serving their party. And standing up for truth, standing up for your integrity, and also standing up for democracy. So I'll tell my voters, so when you compare Ms. Biggs and you look at me.
That's your opponent.
My opponent, yeah. You know that what's best for you. And that's me. So I will.
How's that saying go? They say that, you may not do politics, but politics is going to do you.
It'll
You're
do
right.
you every time.
Exactly right.
So it doesn't matter if you sit on the sidelines. Politics is coming after you.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
does.
Man, what was your deciding moment? I mean, U.S. Congress, that is a ring that's up there. When did you think, yep, this is when
That's
this is
a
what I'm
lot
gonna
of
do?
territory to cover, too. So
Yeah.
My deciding moment was when my son was diagnosed with ADHD. And we went to our school board, our local county councils, our Congress people, and they pushed us to the back burner. And I saw where my wife looked, and she was so upset. And my twin brother, Jumelle, your mother told us about those seats. And my twin brother went to a meeting, and then he came to me. He said, "Bryon, you know what? I think you should run for Congress. I think you can win." And I slept on it, and I said, whatever. And I slept on it, and then...
How much sleeping did you do?
about 2 days worth.
My goodness.
No, one,
Rip Van Winkle over there figuring out if he's going to run for Congress.
It was one night, but I wrestled with it the whole night, and then I woke up, and I told my wife I'm going to run, and she said, "Bryon, I knew you was going to run because on our first date we ever had, you told me you was going to run for office." And she remembered that.
High five, Ariel. High five.
And she remembered that, and I was like, wow.
That's a pickup line for a first
It
date.
is.
Yeah, but no, she always,
Hey, baby.
yeah.
I'm going to run for Congress.
Yes, hey, baby.
When-
You're looking at the future president. Now, can you pay the bill?
Yeah, but when we started dating, I always had an interest in that. My father was real big on politics. I was watching the news with Dan Rather when we watched George Bush won, Bill Clinton, and he was big on sitting down watching Dan Rather. And after we watched Dan Rather, he would sit us down and he would explain to us what's going on in our politics, and I gravitated to it. I just enjoy him being an orator, telling us about what's going on in world events, and it stuck with me. And then me having a speech impediment. As a kid, I couldn't even complete a sentence. So he used to have us read the autobiography of George Washington, the autobiography of Thomas Jefferson, the autobiography of Crispus Attucks, Benjamin Banneker, and so on. And he used to have us get up and read, and then after we read, we had to recite it. And so it helped me be able to speak And then also, I gravitated to learning the history of the United States, history of government, history of politics.
Now, let me ask you this. You said that you came through childhood with a stutter, and it's something that you've had to work through. What is it like to knowing that the President of the United States had followed that exact same path?
It's amazing. It's good to see that, but I think we both had two different stories with that. It's just, with me, I still have a self-conscious with that, because when I get up and speak, it's kind of out the norm for me. And then when someone says, "Oh, you spoke well," I worry about if I stutter. If I rehearse a lot, my wife will get on me a lot about, I'm up 2, 3 in the morning rehearsing in the mirror, making sure that I enunciate words correctly, making sure that I don't look like out of place when I speak. So it's knowing that Joe Biden went through that. It's very commendable, because it also is encouraging. So it shows that young adults who do have a speech impediment or problem talking, stuttering, that you can be anything, you can do anything you want to do. You just got to do hard work and push yourself and stay motivated.
Yeah.
Now, I think what's amazing is,
I think that's cool.
I want everybody hearing this to realize you are not a lifelong politician. This is not something that, you're doing for your personal gain or benefit.
No.
You're about as regular of a guy, a working man, as there is out there, right?
Yes,
Yep.
sir.
And I just want people to appreciate that anybody, Jumelle, myself, Bryon Best, your brother, just one day says, I'm going to try to do my way of community service and run for office.
Yeah.
None of us had prior experience to this.
Yeah.
None of us went to poli-sci in
Yeah.
school and graduate degrees and,
None of that.
and interned for high-powered congresspersons or
No.
lawyers. None of that stuff. We're just average citizens. That's what this democracy should be,
Yeah.
is rule of the citizenry by the citizenry.
Yeah.
And in South Carolina, we're being ruled by lawmakers who are in
Yeah.
there for life.
You're right.
And we need to get them out.
That are making decisions outside of their scope of practice. And of all people, lawyers understand the importance of staying in their scope of practice. Yet every decision that's being made is not being made within their scope of practice.
Well, Bryon, we
That's
thank
an
you for
issue.
stopping by, and
Yeah,
best
I
of luck to
appreciate
you in
it.
your campaign,
Yeah,
man.
thank you. I appreciate
Yay,
y'all having me.
Got it, man. I want you as my representative.
Listen, and Bryon has done an amazing job covering all that territory. So shout out to you for all that
I
work you
appreciate
put
it. It's a
in.
lot of ground to cover, but I thank my wife. I give her flowers while I get a
While she's
chance.
still alive?
Yeah, we're still alive.
You're killing her.
right.
You're killing her with this
No,
campaign, you know.
She's
handling it well,
She does
though.
a phenomenal job with getting emails and scheduling my events for me, because she put a lot of work in, and also she also knock away a lot of threatening emails. Like that. I get a lot of threatening emails from people, and
I'm sorry, man. I told you I won't send anything like that again. I was
Yes.
drunk. It was horrible.
Yeah, she-
I would like an example.
Yeah. Oh well, I had one guy said something about my politics. Basically, my politics is helping people, but he said I'm a piece of and how he would hurt me and my family. And I happened to see that email, and my wife tried to delete it, and she said, "Bro, I just don't want you seeing that because you're so positive, and I don't want no one to throw negative shade at you." And I
That's
told
right.
her, "Look, it comes with the territory. I'm not doing my job if I don't have somebody negative saying something against me."
All
So,
right,
yeah.
good job, good job.
That's how you look at
Bryon,
it.
I hear you. I mean, the negativity actually fuels me. Because if there's one thing I cannot abide are bullies, and the guy I'm running against is one of the worst bullies out there.
Right.
Yeah.
And it just makes me want to dig in and run against them even harder.
Yeah.
But on this campaign, I'll tell you what the low point was that I got. I actually had somebody mock me online because I'm a kidney donor.
They did.
I donated a kidney, and I got
Wow.
mocked for it by the opposition, not my opponent, by somebody on that side.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, how low do you have to go? You're knocking a living organ donor.
And they call themselves pro-life and
Oh
all
my
that.
goodness,
Yeah, okay.
it's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
I just had to
Ridiculous.
laugh. Like I didn't take that personally at all. I just had to laugh at how low they went.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, good luck to you, Bryon.
Thank
Take
you.
care, man.
Good job. Man.
Jumelle, do we want to stay on and hijack this and ask the school board members to come up?
Hey, y'all.
The school board candidates?
School board candidates, y'all
I
want
would
some
love
of
to,
this mic?
because the schools are where it's at. Is there
I-
anybody running for school board that wants to say, hey?
Come on. Come on, come on.
Because
Yeah.
Jumelle, the schools are under attack.
They are.
And really, the school board is the last line of defense.
Yes, come on. Have a seat.
So put on that headset there, sir.
And introduce yourself.
Who is this young man?
Hey, I'm Mark Koeppen,
Mark Koeppen. How do you spell that last name?
Koeppen. It's like your Koeppen after school.
Okay. Sounds like you have some school experience.
Yeah.
So a lot of my experience is transitioned through my wife, who's been in education her whole career.
Okay.
And learned a lot there, and always wanted to run for school board myself, but being in the same county,
Yeah.
it makes it a little bit harder to actually help and do things. So, so that's one of the reasons I'm wanting to step up. She's now outside the county and allows me the opportunity to step up and try and help.
Now, is the school board something you've always had your eye on?
You know, more so recently, not always before, but paid much more attention to it here recently for sure.
Now, are you alone on the ballot, or do you have opposition?
So there are 9 candidates.
9.
For 4
Good
seats.
Lord.
For 4
okay,
seats.
okay. So these are open seats.
Yep.
It's not by district.
Right.
So it's the top 4 vote getters out of 9.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And there are 2 incumbents as well. Mr. Puckett, he's the current chairman running. Hopefully he gets back in. Ms. McNally's an incumbent as well. And then myself and 5 or 6 other seats.
Yeah.
Now, I have to say, in Greenwood, the school board, I think, is pretty decent, compared to some of the nonsense I've seen happening in Richland County and Lexington County. Those are some hot, flaming piles of messes. I mean, they're suing each other. They're the lawsuits. It's the state's having to step in. It's a mess. Greenwood has been very stable and not caught up in a lot of this CRT, DEI nonsense. They've been even keel. How has it been in McCormick County?
I think overall it's been very good.
Okay.
There's been a lot of camaraderie and a lot of coming together. I'm running to challenge that positively, not to shake it up, not to bring it down. There's a lot of other reasons that people think I'm motivated to run, which are not necessarily true.
So why are you motivated to run then? Let's set the record straight, because I've been
Yeah.
hearing all sorts of rumors that you're in this for the money. Is that true? Are you looking to get rich being on the school board?
Absolutely. No, I think the numbers, the enrollment is going down. A lot of people within the county are finding other places to go for education, and we need to get them back to our county and understanding what we're offering and what's available and what's able out there to help.
All right.
I like that. I like that. If you watch the numbers, you're right.
Well, we thank you for saying hi, man.
Thank you. Appreciate you all
you.
calling me
Appreciate it.
up.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
All right.
Do you have a website or anything people could find you online, or
I'm just on Facebook.
page?
Just a Facebook page, Koeppen for School Board.
All right, fantastic.
Koeppen
Good luck to
Thank
you,
you.
Mr. Koeppen.
Thank you,
Thank
Koeppen.
Do we have any other candidates that want to speak?
Donald Moss is a county council candidate.
Is that who's having a seat now, Mr.
It
Moss?
is. It is.
Hello there, county council. Now that's where the true power lies.
Okay.
I can see you've been on a million podcasts before.
No, this is the first one.
All right, Moss, Mr. Moss, give us the skinny. Tell us about yourself, your candidacy, why you're running.
Okay, my name is Donald D. Moss, and I am the Democratic candidate for McCormick County Council District 1. And welcome to District 1. This is where you are at the present time, in District 1, just in case someone here did not know where District 1 is.
So we are at the MIMS Center in McCormick, right?
We
You're
are.
saying this is part of District 1?
We are at the MIMS Community Center, and I just wish to recognize the president of the MIMS Community Center, Ms. Dorothy Rivers, who is here
Where is she?
today.
Hey, Madam President, did not realize we were being honored with such royalty. This is amazing. Do we bow or curtsy when we pass you? What's the rule? Just throw money. Okay. Just like any other royalty. Okay, just throw the money.
I would like to recognize some of my strong campaign supporters and advisors who have traveled many miles to be here. And that would be none other than the Reverend Dr. Jonathan Speed and his lovely wife, Sister Miss Viola Speed, who traveled from Denver, North Carolina.
I was going to say, Denver's far, but it's Denver, North Carolina. So
Yeah. He got us at Denver.
You did. Yeah, you should just stop at Denver.
Okay. Yeah, well, I am your candidate for county council with a plan to move McCormick County to the next level.
It's not just a concept of a plan, it's an actual plan.
plan.
No, he comes with a plan.
Wonderful.
A plan
It's not a
of
concept.
hope. Yes, a plan of hope. We're going to leave that concept to those who are running for higher office. Yeah, so my plan of hope involves health care opportunities, preservation, and education for all. I believe that McCormick County can move forward in these areas And one reason, well, just some of the reasons that I would like to point out for these particular areas, or in the healthcare area, veterans here in McCormick County have to travel a long distance for their health care. There are no outpatient clinics here in McCormick or Greenwood or Edgefield or Abbeville for veterans.
Yeah, so where do they have to go for care?
They have to travel to either Augusta, Georgia, or Aiken, South Carolina, or even Athens, Georgia, for their care. McCormick is in need of an outpatient clinic, and McCormick will be getting an outpatient clinic for veterans. And I serve on that committee to do so.
So let me ask this question.
Yes.
Veterans have TRICARE?
Not all veterans have TRICARE.
Champville?
Veterans who are retired military have TRICARE coverage.
And so, because what you're speaking of is what I consider like a healthcare desert or a healthcare service desert.
Correct.
So, for the veterans that are here, they can't get service here, so they have to go far out.
That's true.
And so, what is the plan? So, McCormick is going to get, I want you to speak more to what McCormick is going to get so that it helps people understand the importance and the significance of this.
Okay. When I say an outpatient clinic, the services that the VA healthcare system will be providing at that outpatient clinic would be primary care.
Okay.
And eventually, hopefully, there will be some specialty care as well. But of course, staffing would be the main issue with the amount of services that can be provided at an outpatient clinic.
Okay.
Who are the decision makers that would enable a center to be placed in a given county, whether it's Greenwood or McCormick or Abbeville, let's say? Who makes that decision? Is it at the county council level to bring that in, or is it higher up at the state level, or even at the federal if we're talking VA?
We are talking VA, and it is a federal decision. And as a former county veteran affairs officer, I do have the contacts within the VA to help that to happen. That is how I currently serve on this committee, to bring that here because of my former employment and my contacts within the VA. And of course, county council does play a role in that, in supporting these efforts in whatever way that county council can do, as well as the state playing a role, because although it is a federal facility and it's federal funding, but they do look to the state as well as the county in assisting in whatever way possible.
See, here's my concern about the state, and this is the state of our state. There is a bill that was sponsored bipartisan by the state house to give disabled veterans property tax breaks. Does that sound like a good idea? Right? I think, disabled veteran, if there's a group of people to be getting some tax relief, it's those people.
Yes.
You know what? It never made it out of committee.
I was just going to tell you, hold on.
It didn't make it. This was a bipartisan bill that's a slam dunk. There wouldn't have been one lawmaker. It was a simple bill, one paragraph. It was basically says give them money. Right?
Yeah.
That was basically all it said. It didn't make it out of committee. Instead, what came out of committee was a whole bunch of nonsense restricting people's rights and going after marginalized communities. That they found all the time and resources to debate and vote on and push down our throats.
Yeah.
But something like giving disabled veterans tax breaks never make it out of committee.
Never
That's
make it
what's
out.
wrong in South Carolina.
That's wrong. I
True.
agree.
Very true. Let me add something to that as far as property tax relief for veterans. If you are a veteran who is rated 100% permanently and totally disabled, then your local county veteran affairs officer can verify that rating by the VA and submit that to the county auditors. And that veteran is exempt from property tax and also received 2 free license.
Well, I think that's a fantastic platform point to run on. That's as strong as you can get.
I'm telling
Okay,
you.
well, thank you so very much. And I
Yeah.
will continue to mention that fact as we
That's
go forward
elaborating on
to
that is gonna be
November
good.
5th.
That's important.
Yes. Okay.
We're good?
Yeah, I'm just obsessing over that note you received.
I'm going to give it to you in a second. I'm going to tell you what it says.
But I'm completely obsessed over
I know,
it.
but I didn't want to pass it behind him
I know.
while he was talking.
I know you were struggling with. What do you do? Did you
Did
try?
you see me?
I
Like,
did.
I want him to finish.
Did you think about maybe making into a paper airplane and just
I did
throwing
not.
it in
I
my
was
direction?
trying not to distract him nor the people.
Yeah, but see me, I have ADHD, so I'm just going to be distracted no matter what and bring it up.
So let me ask you this one question, and then we'll transition to our next person. If there's one thing that you haven't already said that you think your constituents need to hear, what is that one message?
Okay, the one message that I have not already mentioned is the part of my platform is opportunities. Opportunities in this area are great. That McCormick County is a county with a lot of possibilities, but we're not following through to make some of those opportunities come to fruition. We need, say, for instance, the infrastructure here, particularly in District 1, the internet and Wi-Fi service.
Yes, Lord. Preach on it. Let him preach, y'all.
Listen,
Listen,
Mr. Moss, we've been without power
Let
at our
him
house,
preach.
right? Internet is out. I went through withdrawals 32 minutes into the power outage.
Yes.
I was ready to just go crazy.
Yes.
I mean, I would rather be without water. I would rather be without hot water, a refrigerator, food. Internet to me is my number one vital resource.
You have to know Bill in order to know that what he is saying is an accurate statement.
True.
I myself will take the water, no internet. He has to have the internet access.
Well, we have become dependent on our devices as technology increases. So we in McCormick County need to move forward with that in mind, that we need to be more proactive in making sure that all of our areas, particularly District 1, where the internet and Wi-Fi service is almost non-existent. So, and that was such a needed service during this disaster we just went through with Helene.
Yep.
So, and we thank all of those who came to this area from so many different states to assist us. We cannot thank them enough. So, one other area of infrastructure, as you mentioned, water. Water, as you know, here in McCormick County is a hot topic for McCormick County.
Yes, it is.
A lot of misinformation is out there, and a lot of people are trying to condemn county council for every single thing under the sun. But county council is working really hard and trying to make improvements to the water system here in McCormick County. They are working on a water model that will bring some improvements to the county. And I am aware of the work that is going on. And once I am your county councilman for District 1, I will work to make sure that those efforts come into fruition.
How can the voters find you online?
The voters can find me online at Facebook, at my Facebook page. But I do not have a web page. But donations can be made by Cash App at $Mr. D.D. Moss.
That's a good challenge. Challenge accepted.
All right. Thank you, Donald.
Thank you, Donald. Best of luck to you, man.
Thank you, and best of luck to both of you and your candidates.
thanks.
And thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
All right, so the note says, because Bill will not let me accept a passed note without reading out loud. We have next up a school board candidate, Talisa Thomas.
Hey. I was wondering because I saw a lot of Thomas
I
for
know,
school
I
board
was watching
shirts
the
out
shirts.
there.
Okay, Thomas crew, y'all want to come closer? That's going to be a good spot for y'all.
Yeah,
Y'all
get
come
on
on
up
up, come on
close.
closer. So you can get a good picture. All right, here we go.
Thank you.
So welcome. Did I pronounce it right, Talisa?
Talisa.
Talisa?
Yes.
I love it.
Make sure you're up in that microphone, Talisa. And that's
Yeah,
there
you
you go.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm so nervous.
No. You're talking to family. You're talking to family. Okay.
And we hear you're a good singer. Would you like to regale us with a song?
Who have you been talking to?
That's just what we know.
You know, my grandfather used to call me Birdie because I sang all the time.
See, I knew that. I knew that.
No, she's a songbird. That's so cute.
So tell us, Talisa, a little bit about yourself.
Let's
How
go.
are you?
Okay, I'm well. I'm just really grateful to be here, and I'm also grateful to see so many of you able to come out and show support, especially after these last couple of days. It's been challenging for all of us, so I'm really grateful.
So you are running for school board. We're going to ask the number one burning question, why? What is your why for this position?
Oh, it's a big why. one of my greatest aspirations in life when I was married was just to be a good mom. And then they've since evolved into not just being a great mom for my children, but a role model and a steward for all children.
Well, let's hold on here. Are any of your children here?
They are.
Where are they?
Let's give them a shout out.
All right. Well, we got to put
Yay.
this to the test. Is she a good mom?
Okay.
I didn't hear anything
You didn't hear
enthusiastic.
anything?
No, I couldn't hear anything.
It wasn't passionate enough.
Come on, guys.
Let's ask again. Is she a good mom? Oh.
Okay. So you've achieved goal 1. So now what is goal 2?
I have. And so goal 2 is to spread that effect throughout the county to all of my children's friends and their friends, to make sure that this heart that I have reaches the masses. Because even though I'm probably done, I'm not. I still have a lot of love and wisdom to give, and these children need it. So I'm here for them.
You know, my kids never showed up to any of my campaign events.
Yeah.
I mean, so bless you for being able to do that.
I have to drag
Thank you.
mine.
Yeah.
I'll make them come.
Well, you send them to me, and I'll get them right.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, for sure. I got time.
He'll say, "Can I sit at the back?" Yes, you can.
So in addition to just being a great mom and a steward, I'm running because we have an experience outside of South Carolina. We're from New Jersey originally.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Where from?
South. I'm going to say South Jersey.
Where from?
From the shore.
I'm from Camden County.
Okay, Brigantine, New Jersey.
I know Brigantine.
Okay.
Brigantine Castle. I've been there.
I was waiting on the connection. There
We're,
you go.
we're
Yeah.
from Brigantine, New Jersey, and that was
Y'all from Jersey too? Okay, I didn't know if you were before or after. I feel a connection to my Jersey folks.
We've been in South Carolina for a short time, and since then, you can't help to compare where you come from versus where you're at. And so we took a lot of that experience and brought it here, and we see a void, quite frankly. And I think that a lot of the concepts that are being implemented in other places can benefit McCormick County. And I want to bring some of that knowledge and experience to this county because it's valuable. And with my son being in 9th grade, he's a newly minted high schooler. And Nevaeh
I'm so sorry.
recently graduating, class of 24.
Congratulations.
Yes. We're not going to say Jade the Panther. She graduated from Abbeville High School.
It's okay, Jay.
I just noticed that their names are on their shirts.
Yeah.
Is that so you can tell the difference between them?
Feel free to walk up and ask them questions. They're here for that.
I
That's
like
the
it.
purpose.
I like
But
it.
yeah, so with them going through the McCormick County School District, we saw a need for certain things, and we had needs that weren't being met. And the first thought was, you know what, this district's not for us. Why don't we find somewhere else to go? It took me about a week to work through that and say, instead of moving, tucking tail and running, why not stick around and make a difference? And so that's where my heart is.
That's good. Let's speak to one void that you perceive is present.
I think participation. So my platform is faith, family, and the future of our community.
Okay.
I think the most important one is family and making sure that that connection is there. The family, not just what's in the household, but the people in the community, the grocers, the teachers, the principals. Everyone needs to realize that we are a part of one big family, and that connection, that communication, that line needs to be there. And so for me, we didn't have that. And we are going to definitely push to make sure that we bring the parents back into the school district, we bring the grandparents back into the school district, but not just them. Everyone else in the community needs to be involved as well. So when you see my kids out in the street, just know that they're your kids too. And we all need to work together to make sure that we get these kids to where they need to be.
My question is, why are your kids out in the streets?
I like it.
I mean, well, they work and they volunteer, and
I see.
they
They're
do
doing good things. They're doing
They're
good
doing.
things.
They're out there doing good
That's
things.
that. It takes a village mentality.
And it's so cliche, but that's where
That's
I come
true.
from.
Yeah.
And McCormick is my village.
That's
So
it.
you're
I
part
like
of the 9 candidates that are vying for the 4 seats.
I am.
Is it 6 seats or 4?
There's 4 seats,
Four
but
seats.
9 candidates.
4
Nice.
seats. Tough crowd.
So how are you making your waves where you stand out among that crowd?
So I think for me, I'm talking to the young people. And an example of that is the busload that I brought with me, letting them know that they, newly minted graduates, 18 and up, have a role to play in this process.
that's
And
good.
because you're fresh out of that school system, you know what you needed versus what you didn't have. So I'm encouraging them to be a part of the process and to participate and support who you want to see in those seats as well.
That's good.
Because we service the children.
I think that's important. That's really important. A lot of times you'll hear from, I can speak to the Democratic side of the House, when we say we really need to get the youth involved. We really need to the way you get them involved is to remind them that they are valued.
That's right.
And that their input counts. So
That's
I think
right.
that's a valuable move.
So when I was coming out of high school, we were a part of the Vote or Die campaign. And that's something that I remember strongly about my last couple of years of high school, is wearing those T-shirts and being out on the corners and signing people up and passing out literature. And we seem to we've lost that gusto, that.
Yeah.
Who was running for president during that vote or die?
I think that was it the Clinton or no, Obama.
Okay.
That was Obama.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah. So I can see where that passion. Again, I came out of high school and it was Bush and Dukakis. it was go to sleep. There was no vote or die. It was like,
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Obama's first campaign, and it was
Wow.
super exciting to be a part of it and to realize that I had a voice.
Yeah.
And so I want to bring that back to the kids.
Well, Talisa, we wish you the best. Can people find you online?
They can find me online. I'll start with my email. It's votefortalisa@gmail.com, because I love to just communicate with whoever wants to talk, whoever has questions, whoever has concerns. So please feel free to email me. I'm always on the computer. You can find me at Lady Lisa on Facebook and Lady Lisa on Instagram as well. And that's
right.
LADII, Lisa.
All right. Congratulations.
Thank you so
Thanks
much.
for running.
Thank you so much for
My
stepping up.
pleasure.
You said you were nervous. You came off great.
You did great.
You came off great. Oh my gosh, she's fainting now. Do we have a medic? Medic.
Thank you so much. You did a good job. And she said she was nervous.
I know. In fact, I was about to hand over the reins.
I know.
Hey, I'm looking for a new co-host.
Yeah, I'm done. So have a seat, the one and only. How should we introduce you? You want me to say it? Okay, got it. So next up, who's getting in position is school board. And the only name you need to know is that he's Faye's husband.
That's correct.
Yeah. So introduce yourself and tell us by your real name, not Faye's husband.
My name is Faye's husband. I've been living here in McCormick
How are
County.
we going to find that on the ballot? It's going to be like, check here for Faye's husband. That's what it'll say.
Well, Frank Kenny Puckett
Okay.
is my name.
Yes.
I've been living here in McCormick County for just under 40 years now. And,
Oh, you're a newbie.
yeah,
rookie.
just a newbie.
Figuring out where all the roads are.
Yeah, my wife tricked me down here, but
Same with mine. That's how I ended up here, man. Those wily women sucking us down to South Carolina.
you got it. You got it, man. But there's nowhere else in this world I would love to live.
Amen.
Truly. McCormick County is my home. I've always said that, if they gave me a choice of anywhere else in the world to live, McCormick be number one and Jamaica be number two.
Why is Jamaica number 2?
I love Jamaica.
Okay.
Several times down there.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
All right. So what's your message to your constituents about you and the board?
As I said before, I've been here almost 40 years, and of that 40 years, I've been involved with the children of McCormick County, probably 38 of that. My thing is that we need to give the kids what they need when they need it. I've been a substitute teacher, I've been a mentor, I've been a coach, a referee, the whole 9 yards, and some, a confidant, and the thing that I love most is when the kids come back and they thank me for giving them a hands up or a step up in the community.
There's something to be said about having a coach on a school board. That's an interesting background to have,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because you interact with the kids in a way that teachers don't, that parents don't. You really come at it a different. In fact, there are many coaches who are more influential on a kid than anybody else in their life.
Yeah.
What did you coach?
Coach baseball.
Okay.
Baseball and softball. One of the things that really surprised me is that when a child does something well, they're not getting the support or accolades at home that they deserve. You tell them you're proud of them, and it's almost a surprise to them, And I think we need to do that more. Tell them how much we appreciate them. Give them something to do, constructive, and keep their feet to the fire and not let them skate.
You make a great point, because I know one mantra that I keep hearing on the Republican side is they want parental rights. They want parental this and that, and really they think everything should happen at the home. But the reality is not as much happens at the home that should happen at the home, and it is incumbent upon the community as a whole to sometimes fill in those gaps. You know, as I told Jumelle this on the air, I got no sex ed as a kid from my parents. They wouldn't talk about that subject. I had to get that at school. Now, sadly, I went to a Catholic school and was taught sex ed by priests and nuns, and that turned out really weird. But still, the fact that you have community members that step up to fill in some of these gaps, like praising a kid for accomplishments, they may not get that at home, and so it is great to hear a coach or a teacher or somebody else in their lives be that type of influence.
And a lot of times, kids will talk to us about things that they will not talk to their parents about. That's where you have to have that, that listening ear and give them the truth, and not necessarily what they want to hear, but give them the truth. You may not like it, but here's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been to school board meetings in McCormick County School Board before?
Yeah.
I might have been one or two. I'm the chairman.
All right. So having been there once or twice,
Yeah.
how do you feel it's run now? Do you feel there's room for improvement, or do you feel like, there's still so much more to do?
There's always room for improvement. If you stand still, you become stagnant and, complacent.
Good job.
But I think we have a dynamic school board at this present time. We don't always see eye to eye. But when we come out of executive session, we're on the same sheet of music. And that's kids first and kids for last.
How are you handling a lot of these dictates that are coming from the state school system, the state school board, the state administration? Are you able to digest those, incorporate them in? Are you paying them no mind? How do you deal with these recent dictums about book bans and word bans and other things that are affecting day-to-day teachers' activities?
If it's mandated by the state, we have to follow it, point blank. There's no leeway on that. And we have to, do it in the best interest of the school and the students.
But I've been hearing, though, that even in some of those mandates, there's confusion. There's words that are ambiguous in meaning, and I'm seeing some other school boards anyway kind of go back up the chain saying, we need clarification on what you mean by this, that, and the other. Is that being found here as well, or you're feeling it's pretty straightforward?
Yes, if we have questions about anything, we have the ability to go back up the line and seek clarification on that. We just don't make decisions willy-nilly, we have to keep the state and the law in mind.
I want to switch gears for a second. When you mentioned that to give the kids what they need when they need it, and then you alluded to additional activities or keeping them active and involved, what are some suggestions that you would like to see implemented that would give the children of McCormick County something to do? And I say that because I went in with my sorority a year or so ago and talked to a group of awesome kids from McCormick, the high school. And I said, what are some of the things you want your elected official to know? And one of the things they said is that, we need something to do. So when you mention, I know you're school board, but when you mention activities for children to do, what are some things you would like to see happen that are non-sports related?
Well, we're looking into having a student advisory council to the school board.
Okay.
Of course, they can't sit in on executive meetings, but they can bring the concerns of their classmates to us, and we take them under consideration. And if there's something that we can do and implement, we would do that. And we give them the credit, not us.
I like that. Students have a voice. I like that you're listening. Okay. Any questions from the audience? Because I think I skipped that on a couple of our candidates.
Like all of them, I think.
My bad. I can't remember everything.
Can you be found online? If people want to check you out? Or?
Look him up as Faye's husband.
Yeah.
Really,
Yeah.
what is it?
Yeah. If you have Faye's email, you can contact. She screens all my emails and different
That
things.
seems to be a theme here about the wives screening candidates.
I will not
emails.
allow y'all to do us like that. That is not so. We do not screen emails or calls. We do.
You mean Brooks at home's not reading your email for you,
He could
making sure
care
you
less.
see only the positive ones?
Yeah. But I have a school email, and they can find me there.
Okay.
Well, we thank you for
Thank
the
you.
service you've provided to the school systems.
Yeah.
It's great to have solid, morally guided individuals looking out for the kids.
All right, this is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoy it.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Round of applause.
Wow. So recap that. We said 9 candidates
Yes.
for 4 seats.
I think we interviewed 12 of them, though. My math may be off.
So I don't think so. We got out of order, but I don't
Yeah.
think it was 12. Wow, McCormick.
Well, let me say, as we wrap up, Jumelle, how is your campaign going? You're actually running in this district in McCormick.
I am.
How are you feeling?
Y'all gonna have me blush. I love it. I will tell you that, as I stated earlier when Jay was here, this experience with Hurricane Helene has pretty much ripped the bandage off. And it exposed a lot of areas that we have to begin to work to put emphasis on. I said it earlier today when we did our breakfast, and I won't recant that whole speech, but in me you have a candidate that is going to fight like no other to make sure that our areas don't get forgotten. And that is what appears to have happened. And so my goal is to be that voice that will tear their nerves up so they can't forget us, This is an experience that I will never, ever, come on, Mr. Charles, this is an experience that I will never, ever forget. It is actually 1 year ago today that I announced that I wanted to be a candidate for District 12.
So you're going to start campaigning anytime soon?
Oh my gosh, we've been running this baby for a year and it feels like it. So you got to show up. And with the extension of the voter registration, and Bill, you said this earlier, we extended the voter registration deadline, but we have so many people who are registered to vote that don't. So even with all the barriers that we have in place, we still have to make sure that people get out to vote because every vote is going to count. We have, Bill,
We
the
also
one
should
and only.
point out that it's after 2 o'clock.
Oh my gosh. Let's let Charles say what he's going to say, Mr. Charles, and then we'll head out. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon again. We'd like to thank this panel for being here. And also I'd like to thank this community because I can walk back some 50 plus years and I think about Mr. Thomas Harrison. We didn't have access to this building at the time. We were meeting over at Holy Rock Church just up the street from here. And they had this dream, and I think I saw Mr. Brownlee here, and Early, and that Pastor Brown, and that him and some of his relatives and all got in with county government and all, and county government worked with them to attain this building here. So that's what it's about. And I'm charged, Jenny. My platform is honesty, experience, and knowledge. I've been concerned about McCormick County all my life. And I almost walked back 60 years ago when I served on the school board. And then later I ran at large for county council. And I, again, thank you all for supporting me in that 40 years. And I just want to continue to work. We're working on the first house school in McCormick County, the Miam House School. The county is renovated that building, almost spending $6 million in it, to have a place where people can come to. Also, you have on the ballot probably 17 different projects. And now our candidate Moss was talking about communication polling. We have that throughout this county, and that is on that project. That's one of the projects is to support communication improvement. That's a lot we have done here in McCormick County. We almost got 95%. None of the counties surrounding us have water like McCormick County. Yeah, we got this water model to improve on the quality of water, but we provide more water in and our surrounding counties. And that started with a plan in action. So we still want to continue to brand job, and we need people to look at the blue collar job opportunity we have here in McCormick County, that you could take advantage of people out there, learn how to be a carpenter, a plumber, bricklayer, and et cetera. Because we have to go out looking for carpenters and things. We could be building more homes today.
Yeah. But there's a serious dearth of podcasters, and we need more of those. Are you offering any trainings in that area? That's what this nation needs right now, more than anything, is podcasters.
Well, we will be doing that as well.
Okay. Wonderful. Well, we thank you for a lifetime of service, sir. We appreciate everything you've done.
Thank you.
Jumelle?
No, you finish. I got one more person.
Okay.
So we thank you. We got to move to our next
thank you,
candidate.
Mr. Jennings. And she's not a candidate, but I don't want us to leave this place without giving her a chance to say something. And she don't do right. She don't want to get up and be in front, but come on, ErNiko. So this is Commissioner ErNiko Bryon. You got a word for your people. So first of all, ErNiko's heart is home. This is it. So she pours into everything all the time, and a lot of times ErNiko is not giving herself the recognition that she needs.
Now, this is a fellow Emerge sister, am I correct?
Yes, she is. I wasn't going to brag on that yet. Yes, she is. And she is just such a giving person. So before we brought the podcast to your house, we can't leave without at least acknowledging her and giving her an opportunity to say something to the people, because you've been working this last week.
No
What's your
pressure, but
thoughts?
it's got to be brilliant. So let's go.
Yeah,
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Jumelle.
lean in.
I'm not a person for words. I'm a person of action. I definitely appreciate all of you for being here today. I think that this week has shown us that in the face of urgency, that we need to lean in and lean together and lean on each other in order to have a better community, a bigger, better community.
Well said.
I think that this week has shown us that we're up against something really big in November. And it has shown us that if you haven't seen the people who want to be your next elected official in your community at this time, make sure you take that with you when you go to the ballot box. Simply because, as they told you, my house was impacted. My truck was totaled this week. And I've driven from Charlotte every day home, bringing food here, feeding my community. And even if you can't feed your community or you don't have the resources the way that I did this week, I've been very fortunate. Even if you don't have those resources to feed an entire community, do what you can for your fellow man. As we face this is only the beginning of hurricane season. For people who don't believe in climate change, as you can tell, it is very real. I work in environmental justice, and I strategically placed my organization here in this community because we are unincorporated, which means we get very few resources. I believe it was Thursday when resources finally got here. And so if you don't have people stepping up in your community, if you don't have elected officials stepping up in the community, lending a helping hand, even in this time, they don't need to be in office.
Amen.
I agree. I agree.
And if you have not seen those people out in your community this week, you don't need to see them in office either. And I hate to say that, but it's real. Democrat, Republican, whomever, don't need to represent you if they can't lend a helping hand to you in a time of need. And this week has shown us that it was definitely a time of need. This week has shown us that we can lean in as a community. And I definitely want to say, yes, I've been working this week, but I've had people who have called me who have said, I heard that you're doing something, and they came out and served every day. My Aunt Val, many of y'all don't know her, but she's here in the community. She told me Tuesday, I know you're tired. And I was like, yeah. She started serving fish. Me and Cherry were cooking fish. She started serving fish. My aunt has been here every day. Markisha has been here every day. Maria has done deliveries for people in the community just about every day. And people started lending a helping hand. So I'm just grateful that I have the type of community that I have. Miss Faye Puckett has leaned in every day that she's been here. Miss Cherry has leaned in. And that shows you the strength of the Democratic Party as a whole on this end.
Yes.
So I'm grateful for my community. I'm grateful for the people who have supported us. And I'm definitely grateful for the Democrats who have lended a helping hand this week in support of what's been going on. This has been a trying week for everyone. However, we managed to get through. And one thing, we are Willerton, we are Mount Carmel, and we just love on us real hard on this end. We country, but we made it through.
Thank you, ErNiko.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, ErNiko.
Wonderful.
All right, Neil.
Well, we're going to wrap things up. Let's give some credit to Cherry Brown, the chair
Yes.
of the McCormick Democrats.
Yes,
Where
yes.
is Cherry?
She just went out the door.
Of course. That's when you give people their props after they've walked out the door, so
Yeah.
they can't enjoy it. Well, pass it along for us. This is going to bring a close to this chapter of our lives with this podcast. And Jumelle, I have a gift for you. It's a $1,000 engraved crystal of our logo.
You're right.
No, don't laugh. And go along with it. This is a podcast.
Okay,
Theater
great.
of the mind.
Oh
So
my
just-
gosh.
So just
Thank you
pretend. yeah.
Thank you so much. That is awesome.
And I won't say anything about the fact that you got me no gift. So we'll leave it at that.
My bad. Can we
Not-
not make believe like
Not
we
even
do
an
mine?
imaginary one. You couldn't give me one. But we thank the people of McCormick County for entertaining us and being entertained, hopefully. We thank you very much for being a part of this special last episode of Black, White, and Blue in the South.
Cool beans. Thank y'all. The end.
This is Bill Kimler, co-host of the Black, White, and Blue in the South podcast. This Halloween, stand out from the crowd with ZJZDesigns.com. Their brand new limited edition spooky prints are here to haunt your wardrobe in the best way possible. With 5 new chilling designs, you'll be ready for trick-or-treating, haunted houses, and everything this spooky season has to offer. Whether you're getting festive for the holidays or just looking for unique, high-quality designs to up your style game, ZJZDesigns.com has you covered. Shop now at ZJZDesigns.com and discover the t-shirts that'll make you stand out in any season. Don't get caught without the coolest Halloween t-shirt. Grab yours before they disappear. ZJZDesigns.com.
The preceding podcast is a product of Big Media and copyright 2024, all rights reserved.